My neighbor destroyed my Casio with a baseball bat because his dog couldn't handle my cat's existing. Hey Reddit, so I'm Ethan, 37 and recently divorced. My cats are pretty much my only family now, since my parents and I aren't exactly close. Always been that way, they never really got me. After the divorce, I just wanted some peace and quiet, built a nice little Casio so my fur babies could enjoy the outdoors safely. Then this guy moves in next door. Think he's compensating for something with this huge, aggressive German shepherd he lets run wild. Should have known it was going to be trouble when he started ranting about how much he hates cats. But I never expected this. Think I'm overreacting? You haven't heard the half of it. So I'm working from home one day, headphones on, deep in code, when I hear this commotion. It's a weird mix of snarling, hissing, and this awful crashing sound. My stomach drops. I rip off my headphones and sprint to the back window. And there it is. Brutus, that monster of a dog, is inside the Casio. He'd somehow ripped through the screening, the reinforced screening I installed specifically to keep predators out. My cats, Oliver and Luna, are huddled in the far corner, absolutely terrified. Brutus is lunging at them, snapping and snarling, a foaming mess. The whole structure is shaking, planters overturned, toys scattered everywhere. It looked like a tornado had hit. I felt this wave of nausea wash over me, like the world was tilting on its axis. I screamed, I swear I actually screamed, and bolted out the back door. By the time I got out there, Brutus had thankfully lost interest in the cats and was now systematically destroying the remaining furniture, ripping apart the cat tree, shredding the cushions. I yelled at him, I yelled at the top of my lungs, but he just ignored me, this wild look in his eyes. I was shaking, my heart pounding like it was going to explode. Finally, I managed to scare him off, but the damage was done. The Casio was in shambles. And my poor babies, Oliver was limping, Luna was hiding under a bush, refusing to come out. I felt like I was going to be sick. This wasn't just a broken fence, it was a violation. Like someone had broken into my house and terrorized my family. I called Dale immediately, practically screaming into the phone. His response, "Oh, relax, boys will be boys. Boys will be boys." My cats were traumatized. My safe space, the one place I'd created for them after all the chaos of my divorce, was ruined. And this jerk was acting like it was no big deal. He even had the nerve to say my cats probably provoked Brutus. Provoked him, they were trapped in an enclosure. I wanted to reach through the phone and strangle him. I knew right then and there this wasn't over. This was war. I marched right over to Dale's house, fists clenched, ready to give him a piece of my mind. I rang the doorbell, my finger practically drilling a hole through the button. He opened the door, smirking, and before I could even get a word out, he says, "What's up, Catman, Catman?" The condescension dripping from his voice made my blood boil. "Your dog," I managed to choke out, "destroyed my Casio. He terrorized my cats." "He could have killed them," Dale just shrugged. "Sounds like a cat problem to me," he said and started to close the door. I stuck my foot in the doorway, preventing him from shutting me out. "This isn't a joke, Dale, your dog is dangerous, you need to control him." He laughed, actually laughed. "Look, princess," he said, his voice dripping with sarcasm, "Brutus is just being a dog. Your cats shouldn't have been taunting him." Taunting him, they were hiding, terrified in a cage. They were in an enclosed space. He broke in. My voice was rising, I could feel my face getting hot. "Well," he drawled, "maybe your fence wasn't strong enough. Sounds like you need to invest in some better security." He finally managed to close the door in my face. I stood there for a second, stunned. Did that just happen? Did he seriously just blame me? I felt this rage building inside me, a pressure cooker about to explode. I kicked his stupid welcome mat across the porch. It felt pathetically inadequate, but it was all I could do to stop myself from putting my fist through his window. I went back home, shaking. I called my mom, needing to vent, needing someone to be on my side. I told her everything, the destroyed Casio, Dale's dismissive attitude, the whole ordeal. Her response: "Oh, Ethan, you're always so dramatic. It's just a dog. Can't you just let it go? Just let it go, just let it go." I wanted to scream. My own mother dismissing my concerns, minimizing my trauma. It was like a punch to the gut. That's when it hit me. This wasn't normal. This wasn't just a neighborly dispute. This was a pattern. My parents had always been like this, dismissive, minimizing, making me feel like my feelings were invalid. Like I was overreacting, like I was the problem. And now here was Dale doing the exact same thing. Suddenly, the fight about the Casio felt like a lifetime of being gaslit and ignored, all rolled into one infuriating encounter. I hung up on my mom. I didn't even say goodbye. I needed to figure out what to do next. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. A week later, and it's gotten so much worse. I thought Dale's initial reaction was bad, but clearly I hadn't seen anything yet. He's now actively, maliciously harassing me and my cats. It's like he's trying to drive me insane. First, I noticed Brutus in my yard again. Not just passing through, but lingering by the mangled remains of the Casio, barking and growling. My cats are terrified to even go near the back door now. Then, I checked my security camera footage. And there it was, clear as day. Dale intentionally opening his gate and letting Brutus loose in my yard. He even gave the dog a little pat on the head as he sent him on his merry way. The audacity. I confronted him again, this time showing him the video. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I demanded. "You're deliberately terrorizing my cats." He just smirked. "Prove it," he sneered. "Maybe he just wandered off. Dogs do that, you know." "I have video footage of you opening the gate," I practically roared. He shrugged. "Looks like a faulty latch to me," he said with a smug grin. "Maybe you should get that checked out." I was seeing red. I wanted to punch him right in his smug face, but I knew that would only make things worse. I took a deep breath and tried to stay calm. "This is harassment, Dale," I said through gritted teeth. "I'm not going to let this go." And that's when his mother showed up. Apparently she lives a few streets over and decided to join the party. This tiny, frail-looking woman transformed into a snarling, spitting viper the second she laid eyes on me. "Don't you talk to my Dale that way," she shrieked. "He's a good boy. You're the one causing trouble with those filthy animals." Filthy animals. They're cleaner than Dale's mouth, I thought, but I bit my tongue. Arguing with this woman was clearly pointless. Then it got even weirder. Dale's cousin showed up, this hulking dude with a neck tattoo and a menacing glare. He didn't say anything, just stood there, arms crossed, staring me down. It was blatant intimidation, and it was working. I felt small, vulnerable, outnumbered. They left eventually, but the damage was done. I felt violated, exposed, like my home was no longer my sanctuary. I'm constantly checking the cameras, jumping at every little noise. I can't sleep, I can't focus on work, I'm a nervous wreck. My apartment, which used to be my safe haven after the divorce, now feels like a prison. And then this morning I found a bag of dog poop on my doorstep. A bag, OF dog poop, with a note attached that read, "Keep your cats inside, Catman." I'm not even sure it was dog poop. It smelled worse. Way worse. I almost threw up. This isn't just about the Casio anymore. This is about power, about control. Dale is trying to break me. And you know what? I'm starting to think he might succeed. I can't live like this. I need to do something, anything to stop him. I'm starting to think calling the cops might be my only option. Wish me luck, Reddit. I think I'm going to need it. So I was watering my pathetic little herb garden, the only things that haven't withered and died under the stress of this whole Dale/Brutus saga, when Sarah, this sweet older lady from across the street, called out to me. I'd seen her around, always walking her fluffy little terrier, Winston, but we'd never really talked. "Ethan, right?" she asked, her voice gentle. "I just wanted to check in. You seem a bit on edge lately." I hesitated. Part of me wanted to spill everything, to unleash the torrent of frustration and fear that had been building inside me. But another part of me, the part that had been conditioned to believe I was overreacting, that I was being dramatic, held me back. "Oh, it's nothing," I mumbled, trying to force a smile. "Just neighborly stuff." She gave me a knowing look, the kind that grandmothers give you when you're trying to hide something. "Honey," she said softly, "I've lived in this neighborhood for 30 years. I've seen it all. Don't be afraid to tell me what's going on." Something about her tone, her genuine concern, broke through my defenses, and I just started talking. I told her about the Casio, about Brutus's attacks, about Dale's blatant disregard for my property, his constant harassment, the dog poop, the whole 9 yards. As I spoke, the words tumbled out in a rush, fueled by weeks of suppressed anger and anxiety. I felt like I was finally exhaling after holding my breath for far too long. Sarah listened patiently, her expression shifting from concern to shock to outright anger. When I finished, she shook her head slowly. "Oh, Ethan," she said, her voice filled with sympathy, "that is horrible. You're not overreacting. That man is a menace." Hearing those words, "You're not overreacting," felt like a physical weight being lifted off my chest. For weeks I'd been questioning myself, wondering if I was being too sensitive, too dramatic. But here was someone, a complete stranger, validating my experience, confirming that what I was going through was not okay. "He's done similar things to other neighbors," Sarah continued, her voice hardening. "He let Brutus loose in Mrs. Henderson's garden, and he nearly ran over little Timmy Peterson on his bike. The man has no regard for anyone or anything. That was the real turning point. Realizing that I wasn't alone, that Dale wasn't just targeting me, changed everything. It shifted the narrative from I'm being too sensitive to this man is a danger to the community. You need to document everything, Sarah advised, her voice firm. Every incident, every interaction. Take pictures, save videos, keep a log. And then, she said, her eyes flashing, you need to contact animal control. This has gone on long enough. She then dropped another bombshell. And Ethan, she said, lowering her voice, between you and me, I've heard whispers. Apparently, Dale has a history. Something about anger management issues, and well, let's just say he's not exactly a stranger to the legal system. Suddenly, all the pieces clicked into place. Dale's smugness, his blatant disregard for the rules, his escalating harassment, it wasn't just about the cats. It was about power, about control. He enjoyed tormenting me, enjoyed seeing me squirm. And the worst part, he thought he could get away with it. But now, armed with Sarah's validation and the knowledge that I wasn't alone, I felt a surge of something I hadn't felt in a long time, hope. This wasn't over. I wasn't going to let him win. I was going to fight back. I came home from work, absolutely exhausted, looking forward to a quiet evening with Oliver and Luna. I rounded the corner and I just stopped. My breath caught in my throat. My heart felt like it stopped beating. The Casio, it was gone. Not just damaged, not just broken, but gone, reduced to a pile of splintered wood and twisted metal, like something out of a nightmare. My first thought was, where are my cats? Panic clawed at my throat. I started frantically calling their names, my voice cracking, tears streaming down my face. Oliver, Luna, where are you? Then I saw it. Lying in the middle of the wreckage, amidst the debris, a baseball bat. A freaking baseball bat. It was Dale's. I'd seen him carrying it around before, this smug look on his face. He'd used it to demolish my Casio. He'd intentionally, maliciously, destroyed the one safe space I'd created for my cats. I stumbled inside, my legs shaking, and pulled up the security footage. And there it was. The whole horrific scene played out before my eyes. Dale, swaggering into my yard, baseball bat in hand, a look of pure, unadulterated rage on his face. He proceeded to systematically destroy the Casio, swinging the bat with savage force, splintering the wood, tearing through the screening. My poor cats, trapped inside, were screaming, terrified. They finally managed to escape through a hole he'd created, fleeing into the woods behind my house. Watching that footage, seeing the fear in my cat's eyes, the sheer violence of Dale's actions, something inside me snapped. The fear, the anxiety, the self-doubt, it all vanished, replaced by a white-hot rage I'd never felt before. My hands were shaking, my heart pounding in my chest, my vision blurring with tears. But it wasn't tears of sadness or fear anymore. It was tears of pure, unbridled fury. This wasn't just about a broken fence anymore. This was about my family. This was about my home. This was about my right to feel safe. Dale had crossed a line. He'd taken away everything I'd worked so hard to build, everything that mattered to me. And in that moment, I knew with absolute certainty that I couldn't let him get away with it. I grabbed my phone and dialed 911. My voice was shaking, but it was firm. I need to report a crime, I said. My neighbor, he destroyed my property. He terrorized my animals. He needs to be arrested. This was it. The moment everything changed. The moment I stopped being a victim and started fighting back. I was done being afraid. I was done being silenced. I was taking back my life, and Dale was going to pay. Okay, Reddit, buckle up, because this is how I prepped for war. This wasn't just about getting my cats back. This was about making sure Dale faced the consequences for his actions. I was done being nice. First, I gathered all the evidence. I'm talking full CSI mode. I had the security footage of Brutus's initial attack, the footage of Dale letting Brutus into my yard, and of course, the grand finale, the baseball bat demolition derby. I printed out screen grabs, timestamped everything, and organized it all in a binder. I even made a spreadsheet because that's how I roll. Nerd power next, I contacted Animal Control. Sarah, my guardian angel neighbor, had given me the direct line to Officer Miller, who apparently had a history with Dale. Jackpot. I laid out the entire saga, emphasizing Dale's escalating harassment and the clear danger he posed to my cats and the neighborhood. Officer Miller was sympathetic, but also realistic. We need hard evidence, Mr. Ethan, he said. Photos, videos, witness statements, the more you have, the better. Guess who was prepared? This guy. I emailed him the entire binder of evidence. Boom. I also consulted with a lawyer. I knew this could get messy, and I wanted to make sure I was protected. The lawyer explained my options, the potential charges Dale could face: property damage, animal cruelty, harassment, and the importance of staying calm and collected during any interactions with him. This was going to be a legal battle, and I needed to be prepared. But this wasn't just about legal strategy, it was about mental preparation too. I was a wreck. Couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, constantly checking the security cameras. So I started meditating. Sounds cheesy, I know, but it actually helped. It helped me channel my anger, focus my energy, and prepare for the confrontation ahead. I repeat, meditation helped me prepare for war. And then, the most important step, I reached out to my friends. I'd isolated myself after the divorce, but this was different. I needed support. I told them everything, and they rallied around me. They offered to help search for my cats, they brought over food because I'd basically been living on coffee and anxiety, and they listened, really listened, as I vented my frustrations and fears. Having them there, reminding me that I wasn't alone, made all the difference. By the time the police arrived at Dale's door, I was ready. I was calm, I was focused, and I was determined. I wasn't the scared, anxious mess I'd been a few weeks ago. This wasn't just about the Casio anymore. This was about taking back my life, about reclaiming my sense of safety and security. This was about showing Dale, and everyone else who had ever underestimated me, that I wasn't going to back down. I was going to fight. Two police cruisers parked in Dale's driveway, flashing blue and red, painting the beige siding of his house in alternating hues of anxiety. Sarah stood next to me, Winston the terrier trembling slightly at her heels, but her grip on my arm was firm. Officer Miller, looking grim, approached Dale's front door, two more officers flanking him. I stood back, clutching my precious evidence binder, heart hammering against my ribs. This was it. The door opened, revealing Dale in all his disheveled glory. He looked surprised, then annoyed, then something flickered in his eyes. Fear? Nah, couldn't be. Dale Peterson, Officer Miller began, his voice booming, "We have a warrant for your arrest on charges of property damage, animal cruelty, and harassment." Dale scoffed. "What? This is ridiculous. That crazy cat guy is making stuff up." He gestured towards me with a dismissive flick of his wrist. "We have security footage, Mr. Peterson," Officer Miller said, his tone unwavering. "Footage of you destroying Mr. Ethan's property with a baseball bat, footage of you repeatedly letting your dog loose on his property, and several witness statements corroborating Mr. Ethan's claims of harassment." Dale's face paled. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. This was the moment. The power dynamic shifted. He wasn't smirking anymore. I stepped forward, holding up the binder. "Here's the evidence, officer," I said, my voice surprisingly steady. "Timestamped photos, videos, the works. I even made a spreadsheet." I couldn't resist a small, satisfied smile. Nerd power. As the officers moved to handcuff him, Dale exploded. "This is bullshit," he roared, struggling against their grip. "That Casio was a piece of crap. Those cats were asking for it. He's just a whiny little." "Enough," Officer Miller barked, his voice cutting through Dale's tirade. "You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law." As they led him away, Dale's bravado crumbled. He turned to me, his eyes wide with a panicked desperation I hadn't seen before. "Ethan, man, come on," he pleaded, his voice cracking. "Let's just forget about this, okay? I'll fix your Casio, I swear, just tell them to let me go." I met his gaze, my own steady and unwavering. "No, Dale," I said, my voice ringing with a newfound strength. "You went too far. This isn't about the Casio anymore. This is about you terrorizing me and my cats. This is about you thinking you could get away with it. Well, guess what? You can't." Dale's face crumpled. The fight went out of him, replaced by a hollow, defeated look. They shoved him into the back of the cruiser, the doors slamming shut with a final, resounding clang. It was the sound of justice being served. It was the sound of me finally taking back my power. And it was the most satisfying sound I'd ever heard. Okay, Reddit, deep breaths. It's been a few months since Dale got hauled away, and things, well, they're complicated. Life is rarely a Hollywood ending, is it? The immediate aftermath was a whirlwind. The cops found Oliver and Luna hiding in the woods, thankfully unharmed, just shaken. Seeing them safe in my arms was the biggest relief. I spent the next few days rebuilding the Casio, this time with Fort KNOX level security. Think steel mesh, motion-activated lights, and a security camera that could spot a gnat from a mile away. No more baseball bat incidents. Dale was convicted of property damage and animal cruelty. He got probation, anger management classes, and a restraining order. He also had to pay for the Casio repairs, which, let me tell you, wasn't cheap. He was also forced to move out of the neighborhood, which was a huge win. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. The harassment didn't stop. He started calling me, leaving threatening voicemails. He created fake social media accounts to troll me. It was relentless. It felt like he was trying to torture me from afar. I had to go back to court, and this time he got jail time. See, I told you meditation helps prepare for war. It was exhausting, emotionally draining, but I wasn't going to let him win. Through all of this, Sarah was my rock. She checked in on me constantly, brought over casseroles, and even helped me socialize my traumatized cats back into enjoying the now heavily fortified outdoors. My friends were amazing too, always there to listen, offer support, and remind me that I wasn't crazy. As for my parents, crickets, I haven't heard from them since the "it's just a dog" incident. Honestly, I'm not surprised. I've learned who my real family is. This whole ordeal has changed me. I'm not the same person I was before Dale and his demon dog entered my life. I'm more guarded, definitely, but also stronger. I learned the importance of setting boundaries and standing up for myself. I learned that asking for help isn't a weakness, it's a strength. And most importantly, I learned that I'm more resilient than I ever thought possible. It's been quiet lately, thankfully. The calls have stopped, the social media trolls have disappeared. I'm finally starting to feel safe in my own home again. My cats are slowly returning to their old selves, although they still give Brutus-sized dogs a wide berth. I've even started gardening again. Baby steps. So Reddit, has anyone else dealt with a nightmare neighbor like this? How did you handle it? Any tips for dealing with the lingering anxiety? Because let me tell you, even though he's gone, the trauma lingers. It's like a phantom limb, a constant reminder of the chaos he brought into my life. But I'm working on it, one day at a time. One heavily fortified Casio at a time.